So let's talk a little bit about the chosen. What I like about the chosen is that it is actually showing us what the Bible is about. I know people that call themselves Christians and they don't give a shit about the slaughter happening in Bethlehem right now. You have the nativity scene every Christmas. Everybody does this big ass, Saturnalia festival. What they're not doing is they're not talking about who Jesus Christ was and what Jesus Christ was about. So the chosen has already had 4 seasons. It's going to go to 5th season, 6th season, and the 7th season. And it's kind of taken a long time, and these guys keep on getting older and older. And so that's kind of unfortunate. Here's a little.
I'm saying I want to defend the Nazim, but I don't know how.
This week is a rare 6-day week.
So the chosen has this 12 angry men and 3 wise men, the making of season 5, and you got all of them there. Matthew is there, Judas is there. And then some of these other guys, big and little Nathaniel and doubting Thomas. And so you have what happened to the 12 disciples. I just read this, and if season 5 is the crucifixion, and then season 6 is the aftermath, I'm not for sure how they're doing this. But eventually I think they're going to talk about the aftermath, right? What happened to all these apostles? What happened to all these characters? You got Simon, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, Matthew, James, so big James and little James, Thaddeus, Simon, and Judas Iscariot. Now, according to, Simon, and then they said something about Matthew 4:18. Tradition says that Simon Peter, died in AD 64-68 during Nero's persecution of the Christians. It was Tiberius, right? That was the damn emperor that killed Jesus. And now you have Nero's persecution of the Christians. He was crucified upside down on a cross. And that's according to John 21:18-19. So you can cross-reference that if you want to. Andrew was crucified on a St. Andrew's cross, a cross that has the shape of an X. And he was not nailed to the cross, but he was tied to, and it took several days before he died. It was said that he preached while he was hanging on the cross. So you got Simon Peter, who's going to be put on upside down on a cross. Andrew, who's going to get tied to an X, the St. Andrew's cross, right? That's why they call it St. Andrew, because it was Andrew that got tied to it. James, the son of Zebedee, Mark 3:17. James is going to die in 44 AD after he was beheaded by King Herod I, who had launched a new persecution of Christians, according to Acts 12:1-3. And he was the first martyr from among 12 apostles. And then you had John, the disciple whom Jesus loved. John 19:26-22, 20, chapter 20, verse 2, 21, 7, and 20. So this is all from the book of John, book of Matthew, book of Mark. So one tradition says that John was on the Isle of Patmos, that's Revelation 1:9, before he was released and went to Ephesus, where he died. In 100 AD, John, my God, that would make him about 100 years old too. So you have Philip, he's going to die in Hierapolis, Turkey by hanging, 80 AD. Bartholomew is going to minister in Armenia, and he's flayed to death with knives in India. And so he's also known by Nathaniel and Philip. Let's see, Mark 3:18, Didymus, John 11:16, 20-24. So according to, Matthew, according to Heracleon, about 150 AD, and Clemens Alexandrinus, Strom, IV 9, Matthew did not suffer martyrdom. Another tradition says that he did die as a martyr. Well, which is it? Did Matthew die as a martyr, or didn't he? Thomas. This is doubting Thomas. Didymus. This is also known as Didymus. John 11:16. Conflicting traditions say Thomas was martyred in India with a spear. India and the Apostle Thomas by Medley Cott. His body was later taken to Edessa. Chrysostom says his grave was known. James, the son of Alphaeus, one tradition says he was stoned to death, 62 AD. And then Hegesippus said he was clubbed to death, 66 AD. Thaddeus was martyred in Persia. He died via arrows. Simon the Zealot, Matthew 10:4, Acts 1:13. Tradition says that Simon was crucified, and it's believed that he ministered together with Thaddeus. Judas Iscariot, the traitor, Luke 6:16, he hanged himself, it says, Matthew 27:5. before Jesus Christ had died by crucifixion, 33 AD. His death is the second one that is recorded in the Bible of all the apostles. So Jesus fucking Christ, this is, goddamn, this is what happens to all of his apostles. He suffered a terrible death, and then all the apostles suffered a terrible death, right? Simon crucified, Andrew crucified, James, John. So if the Chosen does anything with how the apostles had died, well, that'd be pretty remarkable. That'd be pretty interesting. Now, with the way, how slow that they're filming this thing and how slow it's being released, it's supposed to, the 5th season is supposed to be released, I just read, in spring or summertime of 2025. Talk about needing Jesus right now. It needs to be released right now. What happened to the 12 disciples and apostles of Jesus? We got this other one here. So let's just read what it says. So you have Matthias replaces Judas. So Matthew 10, 2-7, he wants to talk about the 12 apostles. Our first, Simon, who is called Peter, Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon the Cananian, and Judas Iscariot who betrayed him. So you have, let's see, dispersion of how did they die. So, okay, let's go. Peter. It says that he's one of the 12 apostles. He is going to, well, they're all going to die these terrible, violent deaths. So I just thought that was pretty interesting that you have, the Chosen. The Chosen is,
Because why not?
So that they can get to
seems like they're sticking with the gospel. They're sticking
I
with.
think it was legit. I was half joking, but now I'm just going to pretend that I was just that smart.
Hey man, they called for a first team. Can we be professional, please?
Go.
Amateurs.
Go.
How you doing today, Giovanni?
Well, I'm wrapped, so, hey, have a good time. Have a good time.
All right, here's one. And action rehearsal. Who here has known him the longest?
Do you have any idea what that was? Never seen it.
And if we are asked to make a statement, how can we defend both his behavior and words?
Months ago, in a whole nother state, we filmed an incredibly intense scene with Jesus and the disciples. Now, we have to bring everybody back to the same mindset. How hard is that to bring all that mood back to where it was?
Well, that's my whole job, is make sure
It's
that
crowdsourced.
we are keeping track of the overall arc for the season. Good James and Peter walked in, grabbed John. You guys were doing all that stuff.
How was I doing? Good. Good.
I was like, why are you hiding behind me?
I was to see, checking with you.
See, I feel like we've gotten so much coverage of you in the scene.